Hello friends, welcome back to another video with me, the Zenzel. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, interesting video. This is about classic World of Warcraft. Are you going to be playing? This is an interactive video, as in, would you please leave your comments down below. Are you going to be playing World Classic? What are your thoughts on it? Whether it's a good idea, a bad idea, what class you're going to play, what class you despise playing. Did you play Classic? Are you new to the whole concept of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, so it's me just rambling on, really, talking about Classic and my thoughts on it. And there will be more parts to this going forward. I will talk about whether I'm going to be putting Classic videos up. It's something you'd like to see, of course. That would be great if you let me know down below. This is kind of an introduction of my thoughts on it, because I've not spoken about it. I didn't play the demo or anything like that, because A, I didn't really want to spoil it for myself, and B, it's all up there. It's all up there, mate. I remember. Yeah, so let me know. Enjoy the video. Bye-bye. So this is where it all started for me. As you can see, I'm a level 1 warlock called Deepcut. Yes, that's how it all started for me. The first character I ever had was a warlock, believe it or not. Strange how it's still my main 14 years later. He was a warlock, affliction warlock. I don't know what, he's just a warlock, I think. I don't remember what it was broken down into. But his name was Deepcut. And this is where I started, in the Valley of Trials. Got to level 13, I think, on this. Yeah, well done, mate. And yeah, so, I mean, this is a real trip down memory lane for me. Not just the fact I'm just standing here, because obviously since the Cataclysm, the world's not the same for me. I really didn't like what they did to the world. I preferred walking around the old zones and seeing the old things, and everything's changed, and I can't remember until Classic comes out what exactly has changed or what hasn't. I pretty much know that this bit hasn't changed with this kind of brazier in the middle here. This dude might have, old Cthulhu, he might have changed, I don't know. I remember this being here. It's not to do with that really, but it's just a little bit of nostalgia, because obviously this is what, you know, the first thing I ever had was Shadow Bolt. And I remember this a lot in Classic, where you had people that were a higher level than you. I don't know whether you had this if you're a vanilla player, BC player. It might even still happen today. I don't know. There's a dude here. I know he's number 1. Where they just sort of would stand here on their mount or something like that, or in all their armor, and they would just stand in a new zone just to go, look at me. There was a lot of sort of plumage and peacocking around in Classic, and but that was great, because it was kind of like you'd see a guy in, I don't know, 0.5 or tier 1 or something like that, and you go, oh, look at that guy's gear, and it probably looked horrendous, but you know, if you got like I don't know, the Molten Core stuff, the Blackwing Lair stuff, you know, you saw like a paladin walking around in Judgment. Judgment is one of the best sets you could ever get, or a rogue in Bloodfang or something like that. You'd go, bloody hell. You know, I mean, to this day now, it took me ages to do, but I've got those 2 sets due to the fact, to this day, I thought that looked really, really cool. And it was really, really cool. You know, it was what made this game great, was because you had the people that you had, you know, 50-50 people. You had the people that had all this gear and the people that wanted all this gear, and it made it an interesting game, because it was something within your reach, is whether or not, including myself here, you could be bothered to be sociable enough to get into a guild, to be good enough to actually be wanted to be taken to raids and stuff. And obviously, as you probably know if you're watching this, I'm not really a PvEer, and so that was always a problem to me, because even though I had, I think after 4 months, I think I had my own guild called Chaos Corps. If you haven't seen these videos, I've got a playlist on my channel called My Warcraft Story, and it basically, it's about 9 volumes, I call them, of me just talking about my Warcraft career, because if you don't know, I started playing Warcraft about a month after Vanilla started. So I've been here from the start, you know. And you can tell by my face, you know, when this game started, I was a fresh-faced young man, and look what it's done to me. Look, especially over the last year I've had this channel. I'm only kidding. I've loved doing this channel, and I love everyone watching these videos. And yeah, so this was great. I mean, this was where I first started. I talked about it before in those videos, and my mate, he had 50. He gave me 50 silver, which was like a king's ransom in those days. If anyone knew anything about the money situation in vanilla, it was pretty hard to get. And yeah, you know, people used to go to third-party sites and buy gold and all this sorts of rubbish because it was just so hard to get gold. It was great because no one was really rich. Everyone was always in the same boat. No one really knew what the hell they were doing, let's be honest. And if you look at the old mechanics of you know, Molten Core or something like that, or Gar, something like that in Molten Core, his mechanic was fear, and that was it. You know, he just used to fear people. I think it was Gar. And you know, so you kind of think everything was so much simpler in those days. I think people's expectations are simpler. You know, they just wanted simple things. Even the basics was good. And I think over time that's been eroded and lost to some degree, and that's a real shame. It's a real shame because I kind of enjoyed that part of the game. And this leads me on to what I'm talking about with Classic. The reason I'm looking forward to Classic is because it's not a case of going back to 14 years of, you know, the way the game was. Of course it is some of that. But I'm already seeing, you know, people put out Classic videos and saying, oh, get to 60 and for me, vanilla, the good thing about vanilla was there's no rush. There's no rush to do any of this stuff. Because if there's going to be Classic servers, you know, they might 2-3 years down the line say, right, we're going to do a BC server and you can go and do Burning Crusade or whatever. But there's no real rush. There was never any real rush to get to 60 because you were just enjoying the experience. Do you remember that, when you enjoyed the experience? And I think that's been lost within this game. That's been lost with most players. But vanilla, you had to be a bit of a masochist. I would say you had to be a bit of a masochist to play it. But to get to 60, I got to 60. I didn't get to 60 on Deep Cut. I got to 60 on a Dwarf Hunter, Kree, who I still have to this day. I've never deleted him. I still play him. And he's not a dwarf anymore, he's not. But it took me 4 months, I think, to get to 60. And I was walking around with cloth gear on. I had, you know, I was, in those days, hunters could have melee weapons. I think I had a sword and something else, and you know, with spirit on it. And I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. But no one else really did. And that was the fun. And you had these talent trees, and you're kind of going, oh, what do I do with these? And you're just sort of making up as you go along. And then Thoughtbot was around, which was the resource that you used to go to online. You know, no Wellhead in those days. It was all Thoughtbot business. And there wasn't that much information in its entirety. You know, there was nothing on YouTube and stuff like that. Everything was just completely made up, and everyone was just sort of winging it. Then obviously you had collectively the 1% at the top who kind of go, right, okay, let's take this seriously. We need to min-max and da-da-da-da-da. And that was all good. And, you know, they got off and did their Molten Core, and they got off and did their Blackwing Lairs and that kind of stuff. Fair play to people. But I was never really into that. I was just more into PvPing, leveling. I loved the leveling. I loved walking around these zones and not really having a clue what was around the next corner. And for me, that was the core thing of vanilla and classic, if you want to call it that. And that's what I'm looking forward to going back to, because this world now, I saw someone stating the other day, which was really, really kind of a little bit depressing. The world has been like it is now since Cataclysm, longer than the world was in its original state now. And that's really depressing, you know, it's really depressing because I didn't know, I couldn't understand why they did that. I couldn't understand why they thought that was a good idea to, you know, should we kill some stuff? Let's do it. Should we? Oh, I haven't got any keybinds or anything. I couldn't understand why that was a good idea. The way I can see it, the way I see it now, 14 years down the line, is for me it's a kind of case of, imagine if you, analogy, you know, stay with me here. Imagine if you went to work for a company. This company had been going for 8 years, and the bloke that did your job before you did it a certain way. You'd want to go into that job and go, right, okay, look, I've got, you know, you might come in with 10 new ideas on how to structure it differently or do it better. And it's human nature to want to put their stamp on things in that situation, in my opinion. So, of course, you got 8 years later, they go, all right, you know, he's left, this guy's left, blah, blah, blah. The bloke, you know, you're not going to tread on any toes because, you know, it's just a different time now. And so you know, you go in and you think, right, okay, what can I change? How can I put my stamp on this? And, of course, the people, by the time they did Cataclysm, the people in charge or the people that made those sort of decisions, I think, were the ones who turned and said, well, you know, let's get rid of all this old crap. We can do this better. I can do this better. We can get, you know, we've got completely different programmers, designers or whatever, and artists. We can make this look 10 times better and get rid of this quest. I've got a really good quest we could put here, and that kind of thing. And obviously, that's what happened. You know, there's no question about it. And it happens today. You know, the people that are making BFA are the same. They're like, you know, we can do this area better. We don't need this. We could sort of change this around. But then I think you can tinker with it so much that you can. It can be a detriment to your product, and that's obviously what's happened with BFA. They've kind of gone so far, which Blizzard do a lot. I think they set out with the good intentions to do something, but they go too far. Either one way, they don't do it enough, or they do it too much. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they're just trying too hard. Maybe we're just wrong about them, and it's just the way they are. They try and do everything to the max, and there's a lot of people trying to climb over each other to outdo each other. Do you know what I mean? Which happens in business. You know, I'm sure a software company is no different from anything else. Again, it's human nature. So I think fundamentally, following on from that, that's what the problem with Warcraft is that in all but name, it's not the same game. And that rhymed. How good's that? And that's the problem. And that's why people want Classic, and that's why people like me, even though I've not really spoke about it, are going to play it. And I'm going to play it. Will I play it full time? I don't know. I don't think so, because obviously I want to make relevant content. I will still be playing retail, but I would definitely be playing Classic. But at the rate I play Classic, at what I want to achieve within it, because obviously I play this game for fun. I say it in most of my videos. If I'm not having fun, I won't play it. If I don't play it like a certain class, I won't play it. If I don't enjoy that playstyle, Classic's no different. If you go in and you think, right, okay, what am I going to do? What do I want to get out of this Classic experience? There's a few things I'd like to do that I didn't achieve in the original conception of the game. I.e., in Classic, I had a 60 Hunter, I had a 60 Warlock, no, 60 Priest, and a 60 Warlock. I think Warlock might have been early BC. This character only got to level 13, and then Sancrotus, who I have now, is I think that was late vanilla, early BC. Anyway, didn't really play it. I think it was more PvP and low level stuff with my Rogue and my Warlock. But my Shadow Priest and my Hunter, I played relatively a lot. And yeah, so my Shadow Priest, I always wanted to get Anathema and Benediction, or Anathema / Benediction, which was the Epic Staff. Now, to get that Epic Staff, you had to, and I really wanted this staff. I still really, really want this staff. One thing in this game I regret never doing is doing that, the quest line for it. There's reasons for it, and I'll explain those reasons now. One of the reasons is that it was very difficult to find a guild that I played on a server called Turelian in the EU. It was very difficult to find a guild that was running that content, and B, I was playing a priest, but I wasn't very good at it, and I certainly wasn't playing healer, which most raids wanted. If you were a priest in vanilla and you were a healer, you were the dog's bollocks. You were wanted. I actually got very late into vanilla. I actually got into the best guild on the server. They just asked me. I think they were probably running out of ideas, but they asked me, and a guild called Unnatural Selection, and they invited me to join their guild. I don't think they were the top guild by that point, but they certainly were one of the top guilds, raiding guilds initially. And I thought, well, I'm going to be in this guild, and I just didn't really like healing, so I thought, oh god, this is never going to happen. And of course, you put things off. I'll do it tomorrow, or do it next week, or I'll do it next month, or next year, or whatever. It's always going to be there, and of course, it wasn't. I think it got the actual quest line for it got taken out in Wrath, I think. So I never got to do it, and you needed 2 pieces. You had to go to you had to get a piece. I think it was called Eye of Shadow or something like that, which you had to get in. You get in Winterspring. There was some elites right at the bottom, and you had to go, and you couldn't really solo them because they were elites in those days. It wasn't that easy. I don't think you could solo them anyway. And I did actually get that Eye of Shadow. I remember getting it. So I had that piece, and all I had to do then was go into Molten Core and kill Mojodomo, I think it was, and within the chest, when you kill that boss, was the other piece. You put them together, and then you do the quest, which was in Plaguelands. And after that, you get the staff. And yeah, so that's one thing I regret never doing, because I've always wanted that staff, and you still see people with it. Fair play to them. They obviously did it in vanilla or BC or whatever, and because the thing is, once it wasn't, we didn't have transmog in those days, so once it wasn't relevant content, it was a kind of waste of time to get it. Do you know what I mean? So by this time, I'm like, BC, and you could go, I could go and do the quest, but it wouldn't be a relevant staff to have. So why would you go and do it? And as I said, you just thought, oh well, this is always going to be there. And if we knew in BC that transmog was around, everyone would be getting in there doing that staff quest because everyone wanted the staff. But fair play to people that put the time and effort in and got it originally. I just didn't do it. I just didn't apply myself enough, and I'm the first to admit that, which is a bit of a shame. But that is one thing I'd love to do. That's one thing I'd love to do, is get into a guild and do Molten Core as relevant content. I know it sounds weird from someone like me who hates PvP in its general form. I just don't like that. I just find them really, really tedious. Kudos to anyone that enjoys that sort of stuff. It's just not for me. And but I would go in and join a raiding guild and do that content if I could get that staff. That's how much I'd want that staff. The thing is then, if you did it, what would the stipulation would be, that I would be able to transmog it in retail. Now, I don't know if that's going to be you're going to be able to do that. If you get something in classic, will it transfer over to retail? I very, very much doubt it. Even though you've worked harder to achieve it and get it than you probably would in the main game if it was still, something you could acquire. So that's one thing I really would like to do come classic. And that's obviously, the thing is with that is saying to myself, well, if you wanted to do that, then you'd have to get your Shadow Priest to 60 and then min-max, do end game, blah, blah, blah. And that's the stumbling block for me, because it's like, well, is that what I want to do? Is that what I want to do, to sort of pigeonhole myself into, playing one class? Because that's what you'll be doing, unless you're, you've got all the time in the world. You're probably only going to have one character within the first 6 months that's at 60, and then you decide, oh yeah, I'm going to you know, boost this fella as far as I can and do all the content that you possibly can. I would love to say that I would do that. I would love to say that I would do that, but I'm not sure I could trust myself to actually achieve those goals. What's this bollocks up here? Yeah, so that's one thing I'd like to do. Now, is that something you'd like to see me try and achieve? I'm not saying leveling, because I think classic leveling is not much fun to watch, to be honest. It really is very slow. But I could do it on maybe on stream or something like that. I was thinking about doing a bit of streaming on Twitch and stuff. I might do, or you know, which I think exponentially will help the channel grow. Or I could just, you know, do snippets of me playing. You know, do some jump cuts to me playing this game in Classic and just sort of having a bit of fun and see what you think. Let me know what you think, and yeah, that would be great. But apart from that, I don't know what else I'd want to get out of it. The leveling thing, being stuck in Felwood, I have vivid memories of being stuck in Felwood. Well, not stuck in Felwood, I wanted to be there, of course. Just killing wolves over and over again because my hunter was a leather worker and still is a leather worker and still is a skinner. Never changed ever since day one. Vanilla, or since I've played this game, he's been a leather worker and a skinner, and he still is to this day. There's no reason to change it. And yeah, I just remember being in Felwood many hours, just picking up rugged leather, and I think it was rugged leather or something like that. Anyway, the rugged leather, heavy leather. I think it was one of the or t'other or both. I don't remember. And yeah, just running around there picking that up for hours and hours and hours. Now, would I want to do that now? I have less time than I had in those days, which is one factor, obviously, which you need to think about going forward. So, oof, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what else I'd want to get out of it apart from just having that leveling experience, being stuck in the wetlands and I don't know, Menethil Harbour and stuff like that, or being stuck in Death Knell on my Shadow Priest. Doing some, you know, doing the original admin mills and all that kind of stuff, and Brill and all that kind of gear around there. The Scarlet Crusade stuff, which I'd probably love to do. I mean, I won't be playing Alliance. That won't be happening. But yeah, so that's the kind of stuff. I think maybe it's a nostalgia trip for me, and that's something I'd enjoy doing. Is certainly running around those old zones and just having a bit of fun, really, and taking my time. But I'm really not going to be in any kind of hurry to achieve much within the game, apart from just enjoying it, just enjoying the flavour and text of what it was. I will be doing a follow-up video to this. I know I probably rambled a little bit, but some people like listening to me ramble. I'm not sure why. But I will be doing a follow-up video to this of what classes I'm looking at playing. You know, what else I'm expecting from Classic. So keep eyes out for that. And if you did enjoy this video, let me know. And also, what's important, I know I said this at the introduction. Are you going to be playing? Are you going to be playing Classic? Are you going to be taking it on board? And, you know, what do you want to get out of it? I'd love to know, and let me know in the comments below, because obviously my channel is nothing without your feedback, and without your interactions and your support, I wouldn't be doing this now. After 11 months, I'm still doing it because I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy interacting with people and having fun on the channel and doing things like this, you know, just having a platform to speak my mind about this game we all know and love, and certainly about that game that we all fell in love with in the first place, which disappointingly maybe isn't the iteration that we're all looking at today. And of course, we all hope for better, and we all hope that it's going to get better, and we all hope that there will be a change that we'll all embrace and enjoy. And 8.1 is great, and 8.2 is great, but I don't know. I think you can only drop the ball so much, and but we'll see. I'm not going to be negative on this video. It's just about Classic and looking forward to that. So yeah, roll on next summer, and rubbing my hands already, thinking about what I'm going to do, thinking about what videos I'm going to make, and yeah. So that's all good. Anyway, if you're not a subscriber, think about subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up for this video, and let me know how you feel. I'd love to interact with you on it. Take care now. Bye bye.